Grandpa introduced himself to the neighborhood, much like a thunderstorm heralds rain. Loud, abrupt, and without seeking approval. Imagine a pale morning sun gliding over the rooftops of Cedarbrook Reserve, with sprinklers murmuring in harmony like the street is taking a deep breath. There's my grandpa, Roy Malloy, approaching 80, maybe if he's being honest, standing on our porch in his boxers, tube socks, and a faded trucker cap proclaiming, "Vietnam vets don't miss," while he loads his old 12-gauge shotgun. Outside the bathroom window, a small drone hovers, as if it pays rent for the privilege of spying. "Nope," he muttered, shouldered the shotgun, and pulled the trigger. The drone spiraled down, igniting and spilling its plastic guts into Mom Chin's azaleas just 2 doors down. Suddenly, 3 car alarms erupted, each vying for attention about their startled duties. I wish I could say I reacted with the wisdom of someone destined for the Supreme Court, but I was only 14, clutching half of a toaster waffle, thinking, should we call a lawyer or grab a fire extinguisher first? As it happened, the answer was both, because that vintage foam fire can under Grandpa's sink still packs a punch, and Brittany Kincaid, the HOA president, part Pilates, part policy enforcement, was already gliding up the street in her white golf cart, displaying the HOA crest like a miniature coat of arms. Behind her, 2 guys in khaki polos jogged along, clipboards in hand, sunglasses perched on their noses, as if shrub compliance required the same protocols as the Secret Service. "What in God's magazine catalog did you do, Roy?" she hissed, stepping off her cart in a salmon blazer that could guide an airplane. Grandpa ejected the spent shell, slid another in with the calm nonchalance of someone tying their shoes, and replied, "Removed a trespasser, Brittany. You're welcome." "That trespasser was HOA equipment," she snapped, waving a hand so that her diamond ring caught the sun and drew a line through my vision. "Authorized under Community Guideline 47D. She was met with the echo of a clipboard, like a bingo caller announcing numbers. Grandpa looked past her to the bathroom window and back again. "If 47D allows you to film me and my skivvies, then you definitely printed the Bible wrong." In that moment, I felt the street take a collective breath. It wasn't shock per se, more like curiosity tangled with the scent of perfume. Curtains drew tight together. A neighbor's Labrador yipped once, then thought better of it. The clipboard scribbled threats. I simply held onto my waffle like a lifeline, then sprinkled some water on the smoke curling from Mom Chin's shrubs, apologizing to the plant gods. An afternoon notice arrived. A trifold embossed with leaves and laden with language that smelled suspiciously like artificial lemon. Mandatory disciplinary review. Cedarbrook Reserve HOA. They set the date at 9 a.m. the next day, as if this were just another day in homeroom. That night, with beef stew and Grandpa's brutally honest black coffee, I mentioned a blinking red light I spotted near the kitchen window just the day before. He went silent in that way elderly souls do when they're absorbing the wind, before instructing, "Send me the patterns, flight times, entry points." "Are we really going to war with the HOA?" I queried. He didn't flinch. "Kid, they declared war when they installed a camera that makes 3-axis turns and streams footage to someone's laptop at 2 a.m. Now give me those patterns." Cedarbrook Reserve is the kind of neighborhood that believes in conformity. Matching shutters, mailbox posts, even the precise timing of the sprinkler size. The handbook Brittany hands new residents could serve as a barrier to a door if anyone dared to use the front entrance. It prescribes curtain colors, lawn heights, and the appropriate wreath diameters for holidays I've never even heard of, while avoiding any mention of drones, especially those that trace the same path every morning. As Brittany likes to point out, any pride flag technically visible from a public right-of-way, like that of the Nguyen family or solar panels of Mr. Banerjee, appears subject to the HOA's approval, lest the son needs to consult a committee to look through a window. At the review, Brittany occupied a folding table like it was an authoritative tribunal, seated beneath a flag depicting the subdivision's crest surrounded by 3 board members dressed in beige who whispered among themselves, with a pitcher of untouched water. On the table lay a pile of scorched carbon fiber, photographs pulled from feeds, and a legal pad with Roy Malloy underscored twice. One of the khaki-clad men stood to announce, "Destruction of property, environmental damage, disturbance of peace." Grandpa chimed in, "Add indecent surveillance of a veteran on private property. And while we're at it, terrible aim should be on your list." Brittany's smile could cut glass. "We are a community of rules, Roy." "Then show me the rule that allows you to set up a camera at my bathroom window without knocking." Page number 2 shuffled through paperwork. "We do not have that rule documented in the handbook." "So you just made it up?" Grandpa deadpanned, exhausted like a man who has seen too much. They hit him with a $2,000 fine and a 30-day appeal period. After a fit of laughter that fueled a coughing spell, he sighed and swore to never give them more than a dime. "Had the drone belonged to some child, I might have let it slide, but it didn't. Secretly, when Brittany's crew wasn't paying attention, I pocketed a shard of its remnants. Later, in Grandpa's garage, I scrubbed grease off its interior and found a faintly etched serial code, almost like a clandestine secret. I shared a photo on a drone forum, full of discussions on antenna ranges, where members salute each other as captain, as if it were naval tradition." Response arrived quickly, harbored with excitement that was both alarming and thrilling. "Not a consumer serial. Looks like modified military surplus, facial recognition firmware. Highly illegal in private hands." I called my friend Chloe, who once revitalized the signs in our school's bathrooms, to read VIP Lounge, holding my phone while eyeing the code. She squinted, gnawing on a pen cap. "That's not Best Buy. That's surveillance lab material. What's your HOA doing, running a pilot program for Big Brother? Or are they utilizing our HOA as a cover?" I confess that I felt both naive and ancient. The thing about secrets, it's once you glimpse one that you start spotting them everywhere, like lampposts you'd never noticed at midday. The HOA office was glued to the community pool building. Its beige stucco and glass echoed every office park in America. But if you loitered behind the maintenance door at dusk, you could catch a glimpse of a room lit by screens that shimmered like a wall lined with aquarium fish. One evening, while biking past, I spotted a man clad in a white polo, wearing headphones, toggling between feeds from people's kitchens and yards. Heat maps glowed a penetrating red where someone had been walking extensively that day. I quickly snapped a photo with my phone and hastened home, as if my bike wheels were aware of secrets I did not know. Under the garage light, Grandpa scrutinized my snapshot and pointed, fingernails stained from a lifetime of oil. "No lawn need thermal imaging. They're not just nitpicking, they're cataloging." That night we assembled a team without fanfare. Ms. Delgado arrived with a knitting bag and a pair of binoculars. Mr. O'Donnell, retired magician who hosts rabbits that hold his mortgage, offered smoke pellets and an alibi. Then Gwen's entered, stoic and tight-lipped. Chloe appeared with a laptop and enthusiasm strong enough to make Wi-Fi seem like a moral imperative. We dubbed ourselves the Front Porch Watch, a title that sounded amicable instead of militant, indicating neighbors determined to return to neighborliness. Our initial plan was simple. Catch the HOA in the act of doing what we suspected and dismantle their operation piece by piece. We tested the cameras, mapped out their blind spots, as if taking note of every creak and groan in the house. During Cedarbrook's Founders Day barbecue, an event Brittany orchestrated like a well-rehearsed homecoming clinic, we devised the strategy. Distractions up front, O'Donnell performing illusions combining 60% misdirection and 40% ferrets. A raffle table crafted by Ms. Delgado that distorted residents' recorded grievances over a small speaker. NP. Grandpa challenging Brittany to debate whether gluten-free patties comprise a human rights violation. AP. Chloe and I sneaking into the control room to seize the footage we required. AP. Chloe created a minuscule electronic cough using unspecified components. This would induce a momentary power blink. Just enough time to snatch a drive. We rehearsed the path 3 times, timed breaks when the guards would indulge in smoke, and learned which door just needed to be lifted when turning the knob. I don't believe I exhaled for an entirety of a day. On Founders Day, Cedarbrook appeared like a community brochure. Balloons bobbed at 8 feet height, an inflatable castle languidly endured the heat, and a DJ sporting a fedora played tracks absolutely no child would personally add to a playlist. Brittany donned a sash that read Neighborhood Steward in glimmering gold letters, like Goodwill was simply a brand. She stood next to the grill, praising potato salad with the precision of a Yelp reviewer while scanning the crowd as if choreographing the scene. At minute 18, Chloe tapped her cell phone twice. "Now," she whispered, and we shifted behind the lemonade stall. Inside, the hallway lights hummed noisily. Approaching the control room door revealed a keypad marked by fingerprints where smudges intuitively belonged. Chloe deftly slid something resembling a hotel key between the frame and object, whispering prayers to saints I didn't believe in. The lock hiccuped open. We slipped inside. Screens. So many screens. Bedrooms, kitchens, side yards where toddlers raced tricycles and adults hunched over bills under flimsy brass lamps. A live heat map of our block pulsated like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Chloe linked her laptop. Her fingers danced across the keyboard with the measured grace of a surgeon at work. 20 seconds. Do not breathe, she instructed. At the 12th second, the doorknob rattled. A flashlight beam licked the far wall. "What the?" a voice began. I slammed a metal shelf against the door, sending file boxes careening to the ground. A folder burst open by my feet. Photos fell out, faces circled, names inscribed below, familiar fonts from HOA letters. Mixed notes bearing phrases like, "Observe further," "Resistant," "Escalate." One page made my stomach churn. It detailed our reserved neighbor, Henry Ruddy, known for his fishing hat and laugh that mimicked a cough. Status neutralized, residence cleared, redevelopment scheduled. The word redevelop tasted like bleach in my throat. "Evan," Chloe warned, and I realized I had read my own name on another page. 92. "Whatever you're doing, stop reading and help me move. 97. 100. She extracted the drive, stashed it down her jacket, and we bolted. O'Donnell, acting on instinct, hurled a canister that exploded with a loud pop and spewed gray smoke into the corridor. A dove emerged unexpectedly, as if a magician had inadvertently unveiled heaven. Then there was Brittany, fierce and stunning like how hurricanes appear on satellite images. "Stop those two," she hollered, pointing at us. Yet her enforcers had to dodge a flaming potato due to Grandpa's impromptu debut of his homemade spud cannon. An unusual but enjoyable occurrence. We lunged into Grandpa's truck, landing hard over a curb that may send us a bill one day. Back in the garage, Chloe flooded the internet with the evidence. A civil rights group took notice almost immediately, followed by a local news station that hosts real reporting, in a realm where anchors typically cover bake sales. The headline spread widely: Suburban HOA running illegal surveillance program. Faces tagged, families targeted. Finally, a city investigator did her job, securing yellow tape around the HOA office door while Brittany struggled to articulate community values into a microphone that was having none of it. What the upload didn't reveal, what we later uncovered, made my stomach twist from fear into something far thicker. The name of the firm appearing on the invoices for security enhancements, neither the HOA nor contracting vendors tasked with fence repairs, was Vanguard Civic Solutions, a shell company operating in 3 states with a board member named Brittany Kincaid. The surveillance extended beyond neighborly concern. It served as a conduit to profile those who were non-compliant, to find and provoke incidents until their breaking points, forcing early buyouts, thereby clearing land for redevelopment. Mr. Ruddy didn't retire to Florida. They simply wiped him from the neighborhood like the chalk drawn on pavement after a rain. When the city marshals apprehended Brittany the following day, it lacked the dramatics of a perp walk. just a firm hand on her elbow and paperwork. There wasn't any sweetening away. Cedarbrook Reserve did what it hadn't in a year. It reacted. Residents stepped onto their porches as if a spell had lost its potency. Miss Delgado embraced Chloe until her glasses squeaked. Then the Gwens brought over trays of egg rolls, a celebration of newfound freedom. Even Mr. O'Donnell performed a trick with a quarter, taken from a kid's ear, that didn't involve medical emergencies. Grandpa didn't soak in any semblance of joy. He simply stood on the grass with a hose, creating little rainbows while nodding, as if becoming able to believe in water once again. News trucks departed. The city dissolved the HOA. Vanguard's website changed to a 404 error faster than saying, "We've always cared about community." The control room emptied into evidence bins, and someone created a mural at Tiny's Diner, featuring Grandpa clad in his cap, clutching a drone by its tail, like a coyote he'd bested. It tickled his grumpiness while pulling a smile from his lips. We organized a bonfire that weekend, an American tradition to commemorate significant events. Gathering around the heat, we deliberated how to narrate the experience. Our front porch watch group converged with casseroles, cheap fireworks, and a borrowed guitar. Instead of discussing heroes or villains, we deliberated over residue mud, where winning felt bleak. How effortlessly a handful of confident clipboard wielders can convince an entire neighborhood that fear equates to safety. How individuals like Mr. Ruddy can vanish when obligatory documents become a weapon. How an omnipresent camera gives an illusion of security to the individual dishing out commands. "Do you think they will come back?" I asked Grandpa once the fire settled into embers of thought. "Not with clipboards," he said, a twinkle of wisdom revealing itself. "Next time, smiles. We just want to help. Temporary pilot programs." That's always the way they return. We established a YouTube channel a few weeks later. Noting the internet's twin talents of outrage and storytelling, we aimed for the latter. Named Privacy Patrol, it featured me narrating, Chloe unraveling convoluted tech jargon while Grandpa spit one-liners like gravel. Our inaugural video, detailing how our HOA constructed an illicit spy room and ways to detect similar situations in other neighborhoods, struck 100,000 views before dinner. Comments multiplied swiftly, with people sharing their HOA horror stories, tales of interfering retail guardians, and even a nurse whose vehicle faced the threat of towing amidst a night shift. Many proclaimed Grandpa a legend. He pretended not to catch wind of that sentiment, though he watched the video twice and jokingly inquired whether the camera added 10 pounds to dignity. Drones still occasionally buzz around, though they seem to belong to kids testing gadgets or real estate agents vying for alluring rooftop footage. One evening, I detected the gentle blink of a small red light hovering low on the old HOA roofline, and my heart sought an escape. Grandpa set down his coffee, methodically reached below the bench where he kept the shotgun wrapped in flannel, and stood. "Wait," I exclaimed, presenting my controller. "It's mine. I forgot to reprogram it for return." He peered at me, then gazed at the minuscule drone, then back at me. "Write your name on that thing," he chuckled, a smile comfortably settling on his lips, "or I'll let it meet some birdshot next time." Cedarbrook has transformed now. The lawn is a touch wild. I endorse it. The fence bears a more honest look. Porch lights shine brighter because people gather beneath them again. Hand-painted signs mark the entrance where the HOA emblem once broadcast authority. "Welcome to Cedarbrook. Bring yourself. Leave the clipboard." Neighbors offer genuine waves, instead of the calculating, "I'm noting your compliance" gestures. The mailman jokes with all the homeowners. Miss Delgado's coral fence glows in the evening sunlight as if proudly radiant. And Nguyen's flag merely flutters like any standard should, with no undue stress. I often reflect on Mr. Ruddy, on that file labeling him as neutralized, cast in a font few should bestow upon a fellow human. Internal investigations are now underway. We persistently push, firmly, echoing our demands, never allowing penetration through benign emails, because you can't repair a wound this deep with mere headlines and murals. It requires neighbors who remember the identities of those living around them. That's the story I intended to share, not because I believe methodically obliterating a drone is the ideal starting point, but because a boundary crossed our bathroom window, prompting us to reclaim our side and establish firm footing. Not spurred by anger, but embodying a fervent curiosity, retaining that age-old American tradition of challenging authority and demanding clarity while asking for written rules. If someone on your block brandishes a self-imposed badge, if your community guidelines are misappropriated as instruments of enforcement, if your porch begins to feel like a stage and your windows like surveillance lenses, I hope this serves as the nudge you need to demand verification. Ask again. Share your line in the comments. Does a drone represent safety, or does it simply embody mankind's oldest funnel? The innate urge to spy masquerading as care. Have you faced an HOA stretching the rules until they snap? How did you respond? What do you wish you'd executed? Share your story. Share your views. Let me know if you think Grandpa took it too far or not far enough. The truth is, neighborhoods blossom when we voice our contentions openly instead of by whispering behind curtains. If this resonates, pass it forward to a friend entangled in a clipboard fight and subscribe to ensure you don't miss the next installment of Privacy Patrol, where Chloe delineates how to recognize the disingenuous engagement camouflaged as safety monitoring. Until then, illuminate your porch light warmly, sharpen your inquisitive edge, and always remember, order is not peace if it demands your surrender.